Alright, so finally the day has come to join the neck and body together. So one of the things on a Telecaster style guitar is you want the center of the hole for the backing plate to be right about 5/8 of an inch from the end here to the center of the hole. So when you mark that out on this guy, it brings it, essentially almost right to the edge here. So what I did, because if you put it in there this way, based on the angle, some of these are pocketed. You'll even see fenders from the factory where the backing plate ends up, kind of at this skewed angle, not straight. So what I did is I basically lined it up with the back here so that it would look good, would be nice and straight and not off and all funky, and then mark the holes. So next step is to take a 3/8 or 3/16 drill bit, not 3/8, that would have been terrible. A 3/16 drill bit to drill a clearance hole through the body for, for the screw. So these are what's called a brad point tip. Makes it so that they don't, wander. You can you center punch the holes and it'll go straight in. So we're going to use those. We're going to use that drill bit and just give a light tap to these holes in the body so that we've got a starting point for the brad tip to bite into. Okay, so it's always best to do this in a drill press. I have a mini mill here that I use in lieu of a drill press. It's always good, especially with a soft basswood body. You don't want to be scraping the 240 or 320 sanded top over the metal surface. So I've just got a nice piece of wood through here. And yeah, so we're going to drill our holes. So as you can see, our first hole is through the body successfully. We'll just repeat with the other one. Okay, so after you've got all 4 bolt holes done, it's time to transfer your holes to the neck. Now, since you've made these 3/16 so that the threads will pass through it, you can put a little soap on the ends, screw it down and touch the neck, or you can use an awl and scribe around the holes with an awl. So I'm going to do both, and then see how it goes. And then I'll take the neck off after I've got my holes marked and go over to the drill press and make sure to just drill like an 1/8 inch pilot hole. Okay, so it might be a little difficult to see, but you can see where I scratched around with the awl and then ran the screw down and put a little dimple to transfer onto the neck where, the center point of each hole should be. Now, another thing that's important is the depth of the screws in the neck. Now I've already pre-measured, and my drill bit needs to stop about here because these screws go through the back of the body and then stick about that far into the neck. So I'll set my drill press up and probably put a 1/8 inch pilot hole and drill down and set the stop so I only drill that far. Okay, so I've got a towel to help keep from the frets and fingerboard from rocking since they've got radius. I've got my 1/8 inch drill bit in there. I've got my stop preset, so it'll only go down so far. You can see it'll only go down to there, which is the perfect depth we need. So here we go. Okay, so now that our neck holes are drilled and our body holes are drilled, put our plate on here, and then we'll put a little bit of bar soap on each one of these drill heads because that'll help lubricate it in the hole. And we'll screw them in very gingerly by hand.
Here we go. So now I'm just tightening the screws. I ran the screws down pretty evenly because I didn't want to, skew the screw alignment of the holes. And so I ran them down pretty evenly, and then just now tightening it.
It's pulling the neck perfectly up against the body. So there we go. We now have the neck is completely seated there. Let's see if you can get a shot of this right here. You can see we've got a perfect body neck joint there. There's no spacing here. We've got our plates on there pretty well, and we're all the way up against it right here. So yeah, we now have a guitar with a neck mounted to it. Alright, so the next thing to do after you've got the neck and body mounted together and they're square and tight is to figure out where to mount your bridge. Okay, so one of the most important things is to make sure you've got your scale length right, which is the distance from this edge here of the nut to the center of the saddle, or where your strings pass over on your bridge plate. So that's 25.5 inches. So I've measured that here from both sides of the neck and scribed it all the way across, or marked it all the way across on the body. I have to finish sanding this anyway, so I didn't throw any tape down. I just did it right on the wood. After that, you need to find the center line of your neck. Now, I strung it, and at the front, I measured and made sure the string was center, and then down here at about the 16th or so, I did the same, and then all the way down, I put a square against the edge, a straight edge. Square will work, but I put it against the edge of the neck, and then marked the neck down all the way on both sides. And then from that, you can establish your center line. Well, your center line is important because you need to properly locate your bridge. So your bridge is 3 inches. Divide that in half. That's 1.5 inches. And you can then put your outer bridge line on either side. So that'll help you keep it square. So after you mark the bridge plate screws out, like I've got there, it's good to get your pick guard and your control plate and kind of make sure everything fits. I had to trim a little bit on the little radius here to make it perfect, but I marked all the holes for all that. And next step, we'll drill and mount the bridge and then work on the string through holes. Alright, so now we've got the bridge screwed down. Going to use a punch that's roughly the same size as the string through holes and mark them all. Start so we can drill those. Now we'll remove the bridge and go drill those on the drill press. Okay, so when drilling the string through holes, the conventional wisdom is to drill this outer one and this outer one all the way through, drill these halfway through, and flip the guitar over, use the bridge plate and some 1/8 inch drill bits to center the bridge plate on there, and then mark these holes and drill them, and then the half a hole from the other side, they'll meet up. So we're going to do that. Okay, so I got the ferrules out of the package here, and all these holes are drilled. I've got a brand new 5/16 brad point bit to counterbore this first little piece of the ferrule, this first little shank area, and then this is 3/8. I might counterbore them so that they're flush in the guitar, not sticking up. So yeah, first step is to build a pegboard, which basically has a piece of 1/8 rod sticking up underneath it. So basically you put this end, how it works is this sticks in the wood, this end goes over here, and then that perfectly lines up your hole to drill from the top. So I'm going to build that right now. Alright, so here's our pegboard made and in place. So this will go on the front side, and then what it does is it lines the tip of your drill bit up perfectly so that you know you're getting a nice good concentric hole for the counterbore. Alright, here we go. That first hole in there. Okay. I gotta set the depth with the stop here. Get a ferrule. All right, here we go. There's the first counterboard done. Grab a ferrule real quick. Make sure. There we go, yeah. Good there. All right, on to the next one. Little pin keeps coming out every time we pull the body out, but that's okay. Okay, so here are the ferrules installed. You can see came out pretty good, but if you turn it this way, you'll see they stick above the surface. So what you can do is you can use a 3/8 Forstner bit and counterbore them, and I think I'm going to. So as you can see, we've got our holes there, and then our counterboard holes right here on the back side. So here they are installed flush with the wood. So now they won't stick out and buckle rash you or anything like that. They're nice and flush.